Hello and welcome back to On the Workbench. Today we're taking a look at the brand new, barely even released, maybe not even officially, that's not really known right now, but we've got in front of us here on the Workbench the Kobalt 24 volt max XTR brushless crown stapler. That's right, a stapler to go with our brad nailer and our finish nailer in the Kobalt XTR cordless nailer fastener tool category. So let's take a look at what we've got here on the box. Picture on the front, key specs on the back. There's really a couple of them here. Number one, 5,000 staples per charge, or up to, if you will. And that is, I believe that's rated for a 2 amp hour battery and fires up to 3 staples per second. So that's pretty quick. Tool-free depth adjustment and a brushless motor for optimal performance. I'm not really sure what optimal performance means there, but that's okay. We'll take a look at that here. That is, with the 2 amp hour battery, you could up that to something as crazy as the 8 amp hour battery, but then you've got to hold the massive battery, so you've got your trade-off on weights. You've been waiting for it, so let's go ahead and unbox this tool and see what we get here. So let's go ahead and pull this box open. Very small box. I've got to give them some credit here on the packaging. I was expecting this package to be a lot bigger and bulkier than what it is. And the tool here checks in what I think is a pretty efficient size, assuming it works right here. So we've got our manual. It's a little different to see the manual kind of wadded up there like that. Sometimes this comes in a plastic bag. There is no battery with this today. This comes tool only. Put the cardboard aside. We've got the tool. We've got this brown bag. I don't know that I've really seen this style of packaging on any other Kobalt tools. We'll open that up here in a minute. I think I know what that is. And then we also have something new to the Kobalt lineup here. We have a pull-out guide that shows you some of the other Kobalt 24 volt products here. Something I really wish was on the website that you could look if you're trying to collect Kobalt tools. You've got pictures here of everything from the stick vac to the caulk gun, the heat gun, the job site radio, one of my personal favorites. You got some of the plumbing tools that might hide out a little bit off to the side and away from people's sight. We also have the drywall gun, and we've got the 4-inch circular saw. We've got a newer version of that that's on the way. We've got some of the ratchets that are here. A few things here that are missing, like the extended release ratchet. A few more things on the back, even with the K-stack system, batteries and chargers. Missing the old 1.5 amp hour battery on the flyer. But enough about that. Let's set that aside here and focus on the stapler. Here we go. This is just a really nice compact size. I'm actually kind of impressed at how small they got this. I was expecting something a little bit bulkier. So now as we look at this, we're being able to actually open this up. There's a little clip here on the back. Pull this back, drop in our staples, close it up there. And if we turn this around and we go to read this here, this just simply says pull magazine and insert staples into that compartment there. What I'm looking for here is a depth or a maximum depth of the staples. Right here on the back, there's our XTR sticker. On the back here, crown stapler, 3/8 inch. I'm looking here for a maximum length of the staples. We've got our spot here for our belt hook, our depth adjustment right here on top, tool free. Now the obvious thing here with this, you're going to need to supply your own battery. But before we can go too far with this, you know what we need? We need staples. So let's take a look at this little kit that we've got here. Again, interesting how this is coming in this brown bag. This looks like it's even recyclable, so if that's true, kudos on them. But there is definitely a plastic lining on the inside. All right, we've got a starter set of staples. Happy to see that that survived shipping. We've got our belt clip. And we have our screw to install the belt clip. This will work on either the left or the right side, as there's a cutout on either side to install this. We'll go ahead and first of all, let's measure the depth of these staples. Since that so far is not obviously mentioned on the packaging. So it looks like we're looking at basically 1/2 inch deep staples that this can support, or at least what comes with it. when we put this in, there we go. It looks like it can easily hold that with these 3/8 inch narrow crown staples. Now, before we can test this, we're going to need to grab a battery and some stuff to test this with. All right, so let's focus now on the front end of the tool here, just as a quick little overview. This little piece right here, which is a wire guide, this is intended to help you if you need to staple, say, fencing wire to fence posts. Say you're running a barbed wire fence, for example, that this is designed for that. And so you can take this wire guide, take it off completely, and there's a couple of pins here, but you can store this either all the way up on the tool and out of the way, so it's still in place there, or you can actually lower it by just unsnapping it here, and it'll key itself into place to deploy it down like that, so that then you can have a guide if you're needing to staple metal fence wire. Now, thinking about metal fence wire, notice I did not say Romex. I did not say other types of electrical current carrying wire. The staples that this use are not insulated. They are not the proper staple for stapling active electric wires. You need to get a different stapler that Kobalt does not make if you want to do that for stapling the actual electrical wires. This is intended for fence wire or things that are similar, maybe string, or the like. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this into the all the way up position so that our complete depth control is right up here on this depth control knob that has this nice easy to view little window here that you can see if you want it to be deeper or shallower, move the line up or down. And in the event you run into any form of jam, simply open this up and then use a flathead screwdriver to knock it out. There is no front end opening on the front end there to put it in. Besides the battery, obviously you're going to want safety glasses to keep yourself safe. And then I've got one of these 2 amp hour batteries here, fully charged, 4 bars of charge there today. Go ahead and put on the old safety glasses here. Grab a piece of scrap wood here. Put on the battery. Now what's interesting about this, there is no LEDs on here that gives you status. You look at the brad nailer, you look at the finish nailer, they've got some LEDs and push buttons that give you an update that'll show you is it on or off with a little bit of digital controls. No digital controls on this tool here. We've got the analog control here for our depth. And as you move that, that'll move that white line up or down. Let's go ahead and click this in place and put in a staple. And right there, that is just proud of the surface. If you can see that there on this piece of clear white pine. Let's go ahead and make that sink a little bit deeper. And we'll go the other direction here. I take that back. There is an LED light there. That's nice. But there's still no status indicator that tells me that this tool is powered on. You can see where those lights there flipped off. Let's go back to the other limit there. And so it looks like between the two adjustments there, not a lot of variance. Let's pull the battery off and we'll take this little guard here. And actually, we'll just take it off here just to see where we can go. Nice thing about the battery tools, take the battery off, put it back on, half press the trigger, lights come on. And now that's not getting quite completely flush there with it. Let's go all the way there. And that's pretty good there. So now the next little test I want to... So to me, one of the textbook uses for this is if you're installing insulation in a framing job, maybe you're remodeling a basement or something else like that. Need to install some insulation. You got that paper side. This is just a scrap piece of paper here. Yep. Looks like that'll hold insulation just fine. And then now on that, how fast it can go, let's, so we can hold down the trigger and go rapid fire here. There's like a couple of those didn't go, and the reason why they didn't go is because I was slightly off the wood there, but all the other ones that went just fine, going rapid fire, holding that trigger down and going. We've maximized our depth by taking off this little external trigger or external depth adjustment sleeve here, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, so we've got some nice features here. Now let's take a look at this width here, because if you're thinking about framing, you've got studs that are 16 inches on center, which means you've got about a 14.5 inches of play in between for doing your insulation. So we really need to make sure that we're within that 14.5 inches. When you look at this maximum width here, we're looking at about 8 inches at the toe. And back here, we're still within about 8 inches. So that gives us plenty of room within a within a stud crevice to be able to install insulation, or to give us some extra room to be able to install something. Now, if we look at this and we go side to side, this width here at the front here, we're checking in about 1.5 inches. Obviously, we also have the width of the battery in the rear, but nice maneuverability where that staple goes in at the toe of the tool. Now, for a little reference comparison here, here's the Kobalt nailer in front, and then in the back here is my 1/4 inch up to 1 inch depth narrow crown stapler. Now, when I say narrow crown, this is that 1/4 inch staple from Porter Cable. This one is pneumatic, so it's got the pneumatic connector here. You connect to your little whip hose, has a belt hook on it, but you can see just how much smaller the Kobalt is by comparison. It's a little bit heavier. Obviously, you have to add in the weight of the battery, but one of the great things about this, there's no compressor. I don't have to worry about whipping a hose around or somebody else tripping over my air hose or the air compressor going off again when I'm trying to quiet the job site or the project down. That it's all right there in the tool at the palm of your hands for nice, easy control. And so it obviously runs off the same battery that you might have your Kobalt drill or other Kobalt tools in the 24-volt tool platform. So just for reference here, but again, this uses 3/8 staples written right there. This is the 1/4 inch narrow crown staples. So make sure you're loading the correct staples and you don't mix these up because these do use different staple products. So now to wrap up on this Kobalt 24-volt stapler, I think it's got a great feature assessment. I'm a little surprised that they even included that wire adapter there. That's a nice feature for those that need it. Maybe you live on a farm and you've got some fencing or something else to keep your livestock in place. Perfect tool for doing this, because then you don't have to carry your compressor with you to take care of those staple needs or the hand staples. And this is far less backbreaking doing that, and easier in your wrists and hands. Nice and compact. If you're doing some framing, need to nail in some insulation. Looks like there's a lot of possibilities here that I'm very excited about, that we now finally have a stapler in our Kobalt 24-volt lineup, as this lineup is starting to really come to maturity here, especially in the fastening category, with this out being the third fastening product here. And as I understand it, there's a few more to come here. Maybe there's a framing nailer, maybe there's a pin nailer. I'm personally kind of excited about a pin nailer coming. That's something I use frequently in some of my woodworking. So I'm kind of excited about this in the future. If you want to know more about some of the mechanisms in this, I've got a video I did a while back on some of the patents that go into the technology of these Kobalt tools. I'll put a card up in the corner about that. And if you've got any other questions or comments or ideas about this, go ahead and put it down in the comments down below. Would love to hear about it. If you like videos like this, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Click that subscribe button. It should be right about down there. Thanks for watching, and as always, have a great day. Bye.